usually when a new band has new songs out, whether it's, I used to go see Rush or whatever, you always want to hear the Tom stories, and you want to hear Red Barch, you want to hear all the stuff from like Cygnus, Sex, all that stuff, you want to hear. And then they're like, we're going to play you 5 tracks off the new album. And everybody heads to the concessions. Everybody goes, toilet break, let's go. Because everybody's so obsessed with the old stuff. And it's been that way with us. But for some reason with this album, we had to keep adding songs.
Do you think it's because there's because of the amount of time between albums that this new record? So it's like, first of all, it hit with a massive bang, rise.
I think it hit with a bang, and I think people got into it, and all we were getting, like normal after shows, you're like, you didn't play Cupid's Dead, you didn't play this because you didn't play whatever. This time it's like, you didn't play X out off the album, you didn't play. We're playing 6 songs, we're playing half the album.
That's really unheard of.
That is unheard of.
Explain that to people about
I'm telling you, usually bands are excited about their new music and they can't wait that's all they want to play. But normally, man, fans are like, oh God, we got to sit through, like they're all excited about this new stuff. It's not as good as the old stuff. But in this case, we started with 2 or 3 songs on the tour, and we were getting like hate mail. We're getting fans out by the bus and going like, really? You guys didn't play Rebel, and now you're not going to play Banshee, and you didn't play Small Town Beauty? And they're going through the whole album. I'm like, wait, we got some other stuff, like, the stuff back in the 1900s. Yeah. But it's been really beautiful in that way because it makes us have a lot more fun because it's fresh, and it makes the show super exciting for us.
Okay, so what else in your rig has changed throughout the tour? Anything? Has anything broken? What about the Rat pedal that you lost that one day?
Oh my God. Well, we've replaced it since. I found one. I had to go through 3 or 4 to find one that had like the magic sauce that I had. But and listen, when you come to the venue tomorrow, I'll show you. It's literally, I don't have anything. I just have this weird domino-looking cabinets that I use, and I have my rig behind me because I have my tech do a few things that he has to switch while some shit. Like, I've discovered, I didn't know this, but I've discovered like how, first of all, my rig is super boring. It's so boring. Like somebody's coming down to do a rig rundown in Nashville.
Take like 5 minutes,
and they want me to be there, and I'm like, I don't want to be there because I'm embarrassed to be there. I'm like, here's my guitar, here's the Rat pedal, and there's the head. I got to go. Nice talking to you. See you. And it's all it is. And I try to tell him that and it's funny because the opposite end, who's opening for us, Vernon, and, in Living Color, the pedal board goes from here to the other side of the room. He's the complete opposite of me. And I laugh, me and him, I go out there, and it gives me a heart attack staring at which pedal goes wrong at what time and what has happened. But they got pedals, man. They know what they're doing. He's got so many array of sound. But for me, it's really boring. It's like I rely too much on my fingers, I think, and I don't want anything in between it. I don't want, and Satriani was on. We just did a Monster Rock cruise, and Satriani was performing there as well. And he'd never seen Extreme live.
I'd like to take a second to talk to you about this channel. This is actually Rick Beato 2. I've had it since the beginning of my main channel, and many of you are not subscribed. As a matter of fact, 87% of the people that watch this channel regularly are not subscribed. So I encourage you to hit the subscribe button on this channel and on my main channel. This will help me get even more of my dream guests and help continue to grow both channels. Thank you.
He came to this show. Talk about within 1 week I got Sartre, I got all these people coming up. But he sent me a text right after the show. He's like, what's going on? Your rig sounds huge. And it's funny because there's nothing going on. And that's the key, right? The key is make that amp and that head pump in those cabinets and put a mic on it and make it explode. I'm not anti-effects because I do have a Phase 90 there for a few solos that are off the album. It's the only time I've ever used a Phase 90. If I don't use a Phase 90 on the Rise solo, people are gonna shoot me. And but on the Rat pedal, and they go back and it's just 3 DSL 2000s, Marshall DSL 2000s.
Yeah.
And I just got a strap over them so they don't fall over. And it's 3 of them. In case one goes down, I got another one. And that's it. And on top of it is the Rat standing upward, not downward, upward. And the cable's going in. And that's it.
The Rat settings are just taped or something?
No,
right?
I check them every night before I go on. I'm literally
you're superstitious,
right?
Oh
my God, I have to know because you can't tell if it's on unless I go out and play. But I'm not going to go out and play, so I have to you'll hear me hit a note tomorrow while this intro for our album's going on, and you hear this one note, C sharp or whatever it is, because it's in key of the intro, and you hear. I'm just like, okay, that's working. All right, that one's working, and that's it. That's all I do. I make sure that the volume is at about 8 o'clock. I mean, the distortion, and that the volume is about 2 o'clock. It's opposite each other, And that's the magic. That's the magic spot. That's it. No distortions all the way down, but at about like 8 o'clock this way.
Wow.
So that way, when you put it on, it doesn't give you more distortion or more sustain or anything else. It just does this thing that it does, and it tightens up the bottom end. So when you hear, probably tomorrow, you'll notice the bottom end of how when you play riffs, funkier stuff, and it feels more like in the bass range of like gunk. It's a gunk. It's like I like to be locked in with the bass guitar. So you'll hear that going like, oh wow, that's where you hear the rat. That's where you hear the rat.
Now Now you don't travel now without taking your rat and put it in your bag.
I don't do that anymore. No way. TSA is taking stuff out and they don't put it back, and they just love keeping your shit. I don't know. They think it's like some sort of bomb.
Wait, I want to go back to your volume, your stage volume. Like what's your amp volume at? Would you say?
You know, I don't play very loud because I thought I was loud.
Are the cabinets facing backwards? And
the cabinet's facing me, but
Okay.
I'll tell you why I don't play very loud. I always think there's a sweet spot for a head.
Yeah.
Instead of just a volume thing. And there's one thing that I've done live, and one of the reasons I don't play as much in front of my amp is because I believe that it's lying to me. It's lying to me of what you're going to hear in the audience.
Okay.
And the reason that is because I found out that when I play in front of my amp, I play in a certain way, the attack and everything that I do. And I was like, okay. And then when I it's always a 57 and a 421 side by side. That's how I've been doing it since I was 14.
Is the 57 kind of on the?
They're side by side. And they're just off axis on top. The perfect space between the center of the speaker and the edge of the speaker.
There you go.
That to me is the sweetest, and it's got the best bite and the best low end.
And the combination of those mics. I always love that. That's
57
my favorite.
by itself is like, okay, I'm not going to say it isn't good, and the 421 I'm not going to say, but when you put them by themselves,
That's
and
right.
even volume, I can tell when a monitor engineer, anybody hits me back, or the front of house, I can hear when one is more than the other. And the studio, religiously, I do not move it. And if I want to add an EQ, I do it at the same time together. They live. If I could have it in one mic, it would be in one mic.